Hello students! Today we'll explore digital interface product development processes. Most companies follow a standardized, comprehensive design process. Whether in large tech firms or SMEs, an APP development cycle typically includes requirements analysis, user research, interaction design, visual design, front-end development, testing, launch, maintenance and operations. More specifically, market analysis, ideation, user research, conceptual design, design component presets, interaction design, interactive demo, user testing, visual prototype, visual design, design demo, user validation testing, front-end development, development demo, presentation demo, iteration, user testing, test data collection, user data validation, limited release, full release, project summary, specification output, component library, user feedback tracking. This sequence can be flexibly arranged based on actual development needs. It can also be randomly combined. Sometimes processes may be comprehensive for large projects. Sometimes the project needs to take small steps quickly, and the process will be streamlined into a usable and business-related small process. Next, let's take a look at the roles, scenarios and tasks of different positions, as shown in the figure. Large internet companies have a complete staff allocation. The senior management is responsible for making decisions, and the research team is responsible for studying users' feedback on the product. The product manager is responsible for formulating the product promotion schedule. The interaction designer is responsible for optimizing the interaction diagram. The visual designer optimizes the prototype diagram, designs a high-fidelity interface, then outputs the sliced images and annotations, and completes the design specifications. The front-end engineer is responsible for implementing the interface and restoring the docking with the database. The back-end engineer is responsible for the program architecture and the database structure. The tester is responsible for testing whether the entire program is available, and the business department is responsible for the later operation. In addition to the complete product line, large internet companies are also equipped with departments such as the Human Resources Department, the Post-Production Department, and the Coordination Department, with clear division of labor. The structure of medium-sized internet companies is as shown in the figure. Medium-sized internet companies have a moderate staff allocation. The senior management is responsible for making decisions, and the product manager is responsible for formulating the product promotion schedule and optimizing the interaction diagram. The visual designer optimizes the interaction, designs the visual part, then outputs the sliced images and annotations, and at the same time completes the design specifications. The front-end engineer is responsible for implementing the restoration of the interface and docking with the database. And the back-end engineer is responsible for the program architecture and the database structure. The tester is responsible for testing whether the entire program is available, and the business department is responsible for the later operation. Medium-sized internet companies have a relatively complete staff allocation. Product managers and designers will assume more responsibilities. The structure of small internet companies is as shown in the figure. Small internet companies have a relatively simple staff allocation. The senior management is responsible for making decisions and acting as the product manager. The visual designer optimizes the interaction, designs the visual part, then outputs the sliced images and annotations, and also completes the design specifications. The front-end engineer is responsible for realizing data restoration and data docking, and the back-end engineer is also responsible for implementing the restoration of the interface and docking with the database. The tester is responsible for testing whether the entire program is available. Small internet companies have fewer staff, make decisions quickly, have a short cycle, and a fast process. Visual designers need to undertake a lot of the work of interaction designers. Specifically, in our corresponding field, the work of visual designers is responsible for user interface design. They design specific renderings according to the product prototype as shown in the figure. It includes jointly creating the user interface with the development team, tracking the design effects, proposing design optimization plans, participating in the formulation and standardization of the design experience process of mobile products. The design document delivery includes sliced images and annotations, project inspection, visual summaries, and so on. We are going to learn about the 5 layers of user experience. In the book, The Elements of User Experience, User-Centered Design for the Web and Beyond, the elements of user experience are stratified and analyzed. The 5 major elements that affect the user experience are the strategy layer, the scope layer, the structure layer, the skeleton layer, and the surface layer. First, the strategy layer. To understand the strategy layer of a product's design, we must clearly answer 2 questions. What does the operator want, and what does the user want? What the operator wants is a business requirement, and what the user wants is a user requirement. Only in this way can we accurately understand the commercial value and user value of the product design. The size of the commercial value can be measured through methods such as market scale analysis and target user value analysis. User requirements can be determined by identifying the target user group through user segmentation and collecting the general opinions and requirements of users through user research methods. Second, the scope layer. What functions should the product provide exactly? What content should be provided to achieve the goals of the strategy layer? Team members need to collect potential requirements, determine the core functions provided by the product, and evaluate whether they meet the strategic goals. Third, the structure layer. The structure layer determines the patterns and sequences of various elements that will be presented to users. The structure layer focuses on information architecture and interaction design, such as the way the process proceeds, the layout principles of navigation, and the position logic of interface elements. Generally, a functional architecture diagram will be output at this stage, and then a complete flowchart will be output for each functional point and task point. Fourth, the skeleton layer. In the skeleton layer, these structures need to be further refined, and detailed interface prototypes, navigation, and information designs need to be output. That is, to make the things in the structure layer clearer and more tangible. Interface design is used to determine the interface control elements and their positions, and to provide users with the ability to complete tasks. Through it, users can truly access the specific functions determined in the interaction design of the structure layer. Navigation design is a form of interface that presents information and provides users with the ability to go to a certain place. Information design presents effective information communication and conveys ideas. The main output of the skeleton layer is the interaction design document. A detailed interaction draft can fully display the form of a product. The skeleton layer is a golden opportunity for secondary innovation. Many micro-innovations, interface innovations, and special effect innovations come from this stage. Fifth, the surface layer. It mainly solves and makes up for the problem of the perceptual presentation of the logical arrangement of the product's skeleton layer. Sensory designs such as smell, taste, and touch, which are less commonly used in internet products, may be more common in AI products. Auditory design is more common in gaming products, video products, and music products. 80% of the product that users finally see comes from visual design. Let's summarize the 5 layers of user experience. It is constructed from top to bottom, and from bottom to top, it is a process from the abstract to the concrete. Well, that's all for this class. Goodbye, classmates.